Good afternoon. Welcome to 30 Frames a Second. I'm your host, Greg Lassiter. We have a great show for you today, so don't go anywhere and don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
First of all, what an incredible honor, and thank you for coming, and thank our great president for being here. I've got to tell you a couple stories real quick. I've been to the Oval Office twice in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I've been there to present an idea on coal and an idea on manufacturing. I've had the great opportunity to be with our president. Now, let me tell you just this. I have to be really serious with you just a moment. I have to tell you that the last session of our legislature, I tried with all my soul. Now, I can tell you, if you'll just give me just a moment, this man and myself are not politicians. We ran to get something done. We ran and gave up part of our lives. We ran because we want nothing. We ran as our founding fathers did years and years ago, to serve. Now, I will promise you to my soul that no one loves West Virginia more than I. And in the last session, I would tell you that there was some greatness past with our roads and so on, but there was way too much pain. Now listen to me, and listen really good. We hurt a lot of people. We hurt our vets and our teachers and our disabled and our weak, and we walked away from the old. Now, I can promise you just this. I came to only get something done. Let me just say this to you as bluntly as I can say it. West Virginia, at the altar, when we had it done, like it or not like it, but the Democrats walked away from me. Now, today I will tell you with lots of prayers and lots of thinking. Today, I'll tell you as West Virginians, I can't help you anymore being a Democrat governor. So tomorrow, I will be changing my registration to Republican. As a coach, I would tell you it's time to run another play. I would also tell you this, and pay please close attention to this. My mom and dad were staunch lovers of Ronald Reagan, staunch Republicans. My mom and dad are no question in my mind in heaven right now, and they're both saying the same thing, but my mom is saying it more profoundly, and that is she's saying, Jimmy, it's about damn time you came to your senses. let me go one step further and say just this. What in the world is wrong with us as peoples? Have we not heard enough about the Russians? I mean, to our God in heaven above. Think about it. The stock market's at 22,000. And this country has hope, and we're on our way. And this man is a really dear friend of mine. But you know what else is unbelievable? This man now has a chief of staff that all of us can pronounce his first name. And you know what that name is today? It's Sir. Think about that. Now, I'll end by saying we're a long ways from being perfect. There's mistakes made and change is tough. But I can tell you this. This man is a reflection of his kids, his children. Eric Trump has been under my vehicle in the back of the woods changing a tire. I've hunted with Don Jr. And Ivanka and Jared, even though Jared is our great son-in-law, are so good it's off the chart. Now, I'll end by saying very quickly, this man is a good man. He's got a backbone. He's got real ideas. He cares about America. He cares about us in West Virginia. And most importantly of all, you know what? He has made us, as common everyday Americans, feel good and be proud of who we are. My friend, our great president, Donald J. Trump.
Greg Lasseter, here with no other than the great Nat Wood.
How to adjust your television set? You are fortunate enough to have tuned in to 30 frames a second.
You have spun that into the fact where the victim is now the perpetrator and the perpetrator is now the victim. And that just drives me crazy.
Welcome back, everybody. Again, you're watching 30 Frames a Second. I'm your host, Greg Lasseter, here with the creator of the show, the great Nat Wood. Nat, welcome to your own show.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Brother, let's talk about what we just saw.
Yeah.
Okay, what we just saw, Conley, who's the governor.
Correct.
Who's a billionaire.
Justice.
Justice, yeah.
Jim Justice.
Jim Justice, I'm
right,
sorry.
Right.
Jim
His
Justice,
middle name is Conley.
Yeah. And that's when I called him Conley.
Yeah.
When
Con.
But let's talk about, he's the biggest hypocrite that you ever want to meet. He's a billionaire. He has unpaid fines. He has unpaid taxes, and I don't think he was ever registered as a Democrat. First of all, I could be mistaken, but the last time I looked.
Well, if he was in much the same way Mike Bloomberg registered as whatever was expedient to get him elected.
At that time.
Right. James Conley Justice Jr.
Is a hypocrite.
Well. No, he's a user.
Okay. All right. And the difference? In this case?
Malice aforethought.
Okay.
A hypocrite is basically someone who doesn't practice what they preach. He's not preaching; he's lying.
Okay.
And he's lying.
Very thin line, but go ahead.
But he's lying for a purpose. His main industry is coal. The 10 most coal-burning states in the United States, Virginia is up there. And when you and in terms of how much electricity is fueled from coal, not only are they a major producer, it's a little place, but 95% of their electricity comes from coal. So you're talking, he controls the industry that feeds them. It's the only life they know. There has been, that is the only perk to crackerdom.
Right.
To never venturing into the future.
Right.
Clinging to the past.
But here's the problem I have. You know, no one's talking about clean coal. I think to me, that's an oxymoron. But
it is an oxymoron.
But very
and
little
it's an
people.
irrelevant oxymoron.
Right. But very few people are using coal. It's very cool. So the fact is that to bring coal back, to bring mining back to West Virginia, which has never left.
Right.
And the president believes that, but how can he believe that and don't believe in climate change?
Well, he does believe in climate change. He knows climate change is a fact. There's just too much money in pollution. The reason why we roll that in is because I want people to understand the complex relationship of coal to the globe.
Right.
It's true. People don't use coal anymore.
Right.
We certainly don't use coal in residential sections in the United States.
Right.
However, in the United States of America, coal still allots for a vast majority of the electricity that's used on an industrial scale, especially in the manufacturing of steel.
Right. Right.
And poor countries, the only upsides of using coal is it's so abundant and it's so damn cheap.
Right. Right.
You know.
Because you think about this, the poor states are the ones that use coal as electricity.
Well,
when you're looking at
that is correct.
West Virginia is the first,
that is
and then
correct.
Kentucky
and
is the
Vermont
second, and Vermont. Right. But just look at the two top ones: West Virginia, and
West
Kentucky.
Virginia, 95% of their electricity, of their power, is coal.
And then in Kentucky, it's 92%.
And it's almost all of the money they make in terms of working.
Right.
So there's the hell with global warming, the hell with climate change, the hell with the damn polar bears.
Right.
Well, I'm serious.
Right.
I'm serious. We are at a place where the planet is now required to take a long, serious look at what it's doing in terms of turning a profit. And there are too many places linked to coal. China is, the United States only uses, only powers 11% of its industry through manufacturing and mining coal. However, China, which is a very poor totalitarian country who really does not care about its population, 82% of their electricity is fueled through coal.
But you look at these states like Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Florida, Texas. These are all these states, the top 10 states that use the most coal. According to electricity in the country. And these are the states.
And they're also, most of them are coal-producing states.
But not only that, Nat, that these are the states that to become president, these are the states that you need. But moreover, let's flip back to the people that are voting for these people. voting for the candidates in these states that promise them something that they know is not going to happen.
And that's why the Democrats are in a pickle, because there's no way you can adopt issues like climate change and carbon footprint and all of that stuff, and come to terms with states that rely almost exclusively on coal.
Yeah. See, and you know what? It's not these. You know what? I used to call it bamboozle, but these idiots aren't bamboozling people.
No.
The people that listen to this are just not educating themselves and just want somebody to tell them, "Oh, it's going to be all right," which in fact it's not going to be all right.
It's not going to be all right, and what is required is that they literally turn away from the industry that has sustained them for hundreds of years.
Generations.
Hundreds of years. Right. Generation after generation.
Right.
And adopt new ways of doing things, which requires education. You're talking about going from the coal mine to the computer.
Right.
Right. Not just the classroom. Right. You're talking about going from no tech to
high tech.
Extremely high tech.
But here's the thing, Nat. Here's the thing. If you look at it, these people, there's a county in Kentucky who is 92% white.
Right.
92% that has SNAP benefits, which is welfare benefits.
Right.
That vote Republican.
Right.
Does that even make sense?
If you're white in West Virginia, I guess it makes perfect sense.
But see, I know common sense is not so common, all right? So given Barack Obama.
What's the first law of nature? Survival.
Yeah. But
Survival.
Okay, let's talk about okay, let's just go with that.
Survival.
Let's just go with that. The first law of nature is survival.
Right.
Now, look at what was being given to them, and look what always been promised in the past that didn't happen. And why, moreover, why would a rich white man care about poor anybody?
He doesn't.
So, common sense. Okay, not so common. But if you haven't done it.
No, his primary business is coal.
Yeah, but if I haven't done anything for you, the coal mine, I don't care. Those coal mines are empty.
He wants to keep open remember, in the last 10, 15 years or so, coal has not dropped all that precipitously in the United States of America, but it has dropped 45% of our electricity. It has dropped from 45% of our electricity being fueled by coal to about 40%. That 5%, a couple of percentage points in the corporate world and how it affects the populations of people and their jobs, I mean, can literally wreak havoc on a place that is totally reliant on coal.
I think the highest producing coal is West Virginia.
Right.
And everybody else then is Kentucky. All those Midwest, those southern Midwestern states.
Correct.
But everybody else, Indiana. But those places like Florida are getting coal by train, shipped in. Shipped in. So my thing is this: if you
because it's cheap and people is stupid.
But
I mean, Florida. For a place like Florida, which is so reliant on tourism, and a balmy, almost tropical climate, not to focus on keeping your state as pristine as humanly possible is a dereliction of duty.
Right.
However, coal is so damn cheap and people are so damn stupid that they are not demanding a pristine environment.
But
instead, they want to keep you from going to Cuba. I want to go to Cuba.
I want to go to Cuba too.
I want to go to Florida.
No. I actually
no
hate Florida.
Florida, but
you know what? Florida. I don't care if you're offended.
Well,
I'm not a fan of Florida.
Relatives
I don't care about Florida. I lived down there for 364 days. I don't care about Florida.
If I was planning a trip, I would much rather go to someplace in the Caribbean than Florida, someplace that has clear blue water and clear blue skies. The same thing with Asia. I wouldn't go to China or Japan with their Fukushima crap. Their environment is disgusting. Yeah. Their ecology is disgusting. Right. However, the islands in the Pacific are just pristine and exquisite. Mm-hmm. I would Hawaii, Malaysia, those types of places are fine.
Polynesian. Yeah, Polynesian.
But China is a totalitarian country that relies almost exclusively on coal.
But
you know where they get that coal from?
Where? Enlighten us.
Who do we want to bomb right now? Who are we?
North Korea, man.
North Korea.
Yeah, North Korea.
North Korea's industry. Remember I told you the business of America is business, and all they talk about is North Korea and the development of the nuclear bomb.
Right.
And even the activists, they say this simplistic thing about, well, America has nuclear weapons. Why shouldn't North Korea? That's not why North Korea has nuclear weapons.
Right.
North Korea has nuclear weapons because if they didn't have some deterrent for countries like China or Russia or the United States from bum rushing them and taking over all of their minerals, because that is the hub of their economy is coal mining and minerals. They would be bum rushed like they bum rush Africa. Right. So they need something to keep giant G7 countries off their ass. A nuclear deterrent keeps countries off their ass.
Right.
But it's all about their mining industries and coal. Like I said, China, 82% of their power source is from cheap coal. A lot of that comes from North Korea.
But look at West Virginia, okay? West Virginia, I would guess to say a vast majority of the people that work in mines got black lung disease.
Yeah.
And they're talking, see, this is what I'm dumbfounded by. Healthcare, Obamacare, they have lived off Obamacare. They still living because of Obamacare and the black lung.
Correct.
You know, just back up for a second.
Correct.
Son, I've worked in the coal mines.
That's the problem the Republicans have.
I worked in the coal mines all my life. Son, I want you to go. I got black lung disease.
Right.
I want you to go work in the mines too. Right. That doesn't even make sense to me.
Well,
you would want better.
The Republicans have.
You would want better.
The mentality of places like West Virginia is complex.
How so?
Because it's practical, but it's also white supremacist Confederate races. So a lot of votes are they gathered from practical reasons, selling them coal mines. However, as you said, that comes with dire consequences.
Right.
But it's a racist ass place. So a lot of their votes came from saying that anything the nigga touched is evil.
Okay, let's just go with that. Let's just go with that.
I'm serious.
Okay, that's a thing. I know. Let's just go with that. Let's just go with that.
It kind of.
So you'll cut off your nose to spite your face.
Kind of, yeah.
Not kinda.
Well, yeah.
That's not kinda. It is.
If they get that coal,
how many black people are working in coal?
Well, they don't want you to take away their health care. They just want you to change the name of it. They want it to be like white folks' health care. If you can find a way to brand it Confederate health care and give them all the same things that Obamacare gave them, and said that Obama didn't do it, they would be in cracker nirvana.
But you know what they should do? They should go somewhere and die. Because
they're gonna die. They're gonna die.
Because here's the thing, everybody. I was watching this week.
Obamacare can't save them from black lung. You can't just work in the coal mine all your life.
But wait, it kills me that these people are chanting they want to repeal Obamacare.
That's the problem that the Republicans have.
They want to repeal. It means they want Obamacare to stop. That they're getting Obamacare.
No, they want you to pretend like Barack Hussein, Black Obama, is not the person who came up with this. They just want to believe that what they're getting for an orange white man.
But that's idiotic. Everybody thinks that
Yes.
that's idiotic. But
Yes.
even they believe,
Yes.
even they know that's idiotic.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No,
I
they
think
don't.
I
No,
can't.
they
I
don't.
cannot
No, they don't.
believe that these people don't know that they're so racist.
On a deep unconscious level, they know, but they are never ever on a conscious level going to admit to what you have to know.
But if you look at the first 200 days of Orange Man's number 45's record. 1 in 4 has been on the golf course.
Right.
Everything, his approval rating is 38%.
Right.
Okay, so right there, everything he promised to the
None of
races
that matters.
But
he's been hillbilly tested. That's the only thing that matters. He is the hillbilly. He is the hillbilly hero.
But how can you be a hillbilly hero if you haven't done anything? Well, I'm just going to keep telling you.
What part of a hillbilly?
You know, all hillbillies are stupid.
Kind of, yeah.
But think about it.
Have you seen the Beverly Hillbillies? Would you trust Jethro to take out your appendix?
No. But it kills me because instead of making a statement just making a statement to the country, and he acts like he's on a political voting. I want people to vote for me.
Correct.
Because he goes to these places like West Virginia.
Because that's all he needs. The way they have the system lined up, this is all he needs.
But let's just go with that. That's all he needs.
Right.
But at the end of the first term, if he makes it that far, if he hasn't done anything for me, and he keep promising me, and nothing's happening, I have no job, my welfare benefits are running out, what then? Please explain that.
What you think is reality is reality.
But the reality is, if you don't have any money,
you just saw one robber baron spend 8 full minutes, and he is indeed a robber baron.
He is.
A billionaire robber baron talking in his best humble cracker redneck voice of how he would never give up on Virginia. He's been to the White House. Hell, Jared was under his truck fixing his tire. These are good people. These are good people. The Democrats abandoned us. He said this in his most sincere.
Right.
And behind him
are these poor rednecks that's believing him.
They're going.
But the thing of it is, look at where he lives and look at where you live.
Right.
That just is common sense.
Right.
And he cares about me. No, he doesn't care about you.
But do you know why they want to live where they live? It's because we're not there.
But you know, that's sad.
That's the biggest attraction.
That's sad.
They
That's
don't
sad.
have to. They don't wake up and see no damn Dominicans. They don't see no
Puerto Ricans.
bald-headed black guys getting out of limousines. They don't. They have their coal. They have their
You know what?
sister.
For their wife.
No.
But you know what I'm dumbfounded by? I don't know. Nat, this is not a shock, but this is the 21st century.
Yes, and
And
that is the problem.
this
That's the
is-
problem the Democrats have. That
Well,
is the
see,
problem with Democrats.
The Democrats needs to be more boisterous than they are. They need to take a stand like the Republicans. The Republicans don't care. They are just
Well, Donald Trump was the first guy who first was able to see this opening, and then channel this hillbilly. This is not a Tea Party rebellion.
No,
this
it's
is
not.
a hillbilly
Yeah,
revolution.
but-
This is those states who would be most impacted by the jump into the future that uppity Negroes like Barack Obama and horrible Hillary,
Right.
and that damn even though he's from Tennessee, that damn snotty Al Gore and
Right,
those kind
right,
of people
right.
are talking about. That is why users.
Right.
Like Hannity on Fox
Right,
News,
right.
users like Breitbart,
Right.
users like Donald Trump, users like Jim Justice is able to capitalize on the fact that this is the only way of life that it's like finding a primitive throwback civilization
And just explain it.
Right, and all of a sudden telling them you gotta learn, you gotta be computer literate.
How you spell computer?
Right.
What is a computer? Right.
Literally, this is the jump that they are talking about, and you're getting resistance from these people. They've had, they've only had a few things to identify them.
Right.
The fact that they work hard jobs, they think of themselves as hard workers. You can exploit that. This is how people think.
Right.
That they are hard workers who are prepared to sacrifice life and limb for their very close family.
Inbreeding, right?
This is their identity, and that they are white people. When you talk about Protestant work ethic,
Right.
you're not talking about everybody.
No,
with
you're
the
right.
work. You're talking about basically white people, people who mine the coal mines and dig and hunt.
But-
The guy, Jim Justice, he didn't just say, Eric was under my truck fixing, humanizing it. Eric, that's the first time he ever been under a truck in his damn life. Oh, damn, a truck.
He just looked, right.
I can get up under there. But he also talked about, I think the other son of the son-in-law going hunting with him.
Yeah.
You lion shooting son of a...
He ain't never been hunting in his life.
Yes, they got pictures of those
Come
guys
on, dude.
in
Those
Africa.
Optics. Go killing.
But this guy, well, if you want to get West Virginia, you got to go kill something, because these are wildlife shooting these.
But,
I mean,
okay, there's a
one thing
difference-
about crackers, they like shooting
Yeah,
stuff.
that's right.
I mean, especially stuff that don't shoot back.
Right.
I
had a lot of white friends want me to go
That's
hunting.
why
They wanted me to go hunting with them. I don't go hunting with them.
Well, that's why so many blacks get killed by the police and whatnot, unarmed blacks, because crackers love shooting things that ain't shooting back.
Right.
When things are shooting back,
They're running.
They
They're
like,
running.
get out the
Right.
way.
They're right. They're
Like
running.
any intelligent person,
But
any survivalist.
it's got to come back around that I want to believe it's going to come back. It's definitely going to come back around. I want to believe that these people have to know that none of these guys are for them.
No. They need to believe these guys are for them because the alternative is horrible.
Okay, but let me ask you this. At what point would reality kick in? Please explain that.
Never.
So
Never.
that just by chance, Donald Trump makes it 4 years. And you got to just ask one question. Are you better?
He's going to make it 4 years.
I don't think he's going to make it 4
He's
years.
going to make it 8 years.
No. I don't think he's going to make it. I don't even think he's going to make it the first term.
Buckle up your drawers.
No, he ain't going to make it. I don't think he's going to make it. He ain't going to make it. He's not going to make it. But think about this.
Black people invest in chastity belts.
But believe me.
Your ass is grass.
No, believe me. See, it doesn't matter what president wins. It's not, black and brown people are not affected by it, truly.
Well, black and brown people are affected by everything, but different organizations, different.
What about communities? Communities aren't
Different
affected.
divisions of white supremacy.
Oh, okay. Explain that one.
Well, I think they are all white supremacists. I think there are different divisions of white supremacists. I think the Progressive Party, the Bernie Sanders are white supremacists.
Right, I agree.
But they preference it. They
think the
sell socialism.
Right.
But it's white supremacy at the root of it. I'm sorry, Harry Belafonte and that other man who do the Lethal Weapon movies.
Danny Glover.
Danny Glover. Right. I'm sorry that y'all, cause y'all really believe y'all doing something, but y'all need to bring your asses home and concentrate on your own and stop hobnobbing with that white supremacist group that you.
But you look at the Democrats. Democrats
is another division of white supremacy.
Because they were the
Republicans are the don't kiss you first, up in your face white supremacists, which horrifies people because you know when they tell you I'm going to rape you and leave you bloody, it takes you back. Everybody else, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
I'm going to buy you dinner.
Then I'm going to do it. But if you think about in the 1800s, 1700s, blacks were Republicans.
Correct.
They were all Republicans.
Correct.
All the blacks coming up were all Republicans.
Correct.
So now, because
but Democrats were Dixiecrats. They switched titles after the 60s.
Right.
But they didn't switch. But they're the same people. They didn't become different people.
The exact same people.
Right.
So you don't think? That's what I tell people.
And the Republicans were white supremacists.
Right.
However, they were more practical. In the days of Abraham Lincoln, it was more practical to go with them because even though they were white supremacists, even though they had no intention of breaking up the Union, it was not about emancipation. It was about keeping the Union together.
Right.
So from a practical aspect, from a practical point, there was something to be gained, and that's what I mean by different divisions of white supremacy pose different problems, and we have to be able to recognize what those problems are so that we can deal with the problems that will come from that specific division of white supremacy.
But we
keep trying to convince ourselves that somehow this division is white supremacy and this other division is not, which is BS.
Which, in fact, it's white supremacy. Period. The end. Did you know what? There's no subset. They're looking at it as a subset and white supremacy. No, at the bottom line, it's just white supremacy.
De Blasio is a different type of white supremacist than Cuomo, and who is a different type of white supremacist as Donald Trump. But basically, but at the root of their philosophy is white supremacy.
So you look at people like Ben Carson, who came through the system.
Correct.
Clarence Thomas, who came through the system. Who was the guy that ran EEOC in the government? All of a sudden, get a case of CRS.
Right.
they're subscribing. They're part of the white supremacists.
Right.
You know.
Right,
So and then people like
But that is the nature of white supremacy. The nature of white supremacy is to find someone you can either empower or make manipulate or give a little profit to. Haiti, you didn't need to get all the Haitians on your side. When America took over the Caribbean, they didn't need to get all the Caribs and all. They only needed a few that they could install at the top of the food chain, give them the weapons to oppress and suppress
their own people. Puerto Rico,
right?
Same way.
Puerto Rico,
same way.
Puerto Rico.
But you know what the sad part of it is that we, as a people, black people, brown people, there's no sense of community then. It's about, okay, you know what? It's not about power. You know, I get these guys, okay, Mr. White Man's gonna give me this.
Well, that's the problem. But this is why every week we go through this, and we bring out data and we try to get people to see things as it is, not just reactionary stuff that gets you nowhere. That just keeps you spinning your wheels. You know, in order to empower ourselves, we have to enlighten ourselves. And we have to be far more logical about how we move from point A to point B. We need more than just reactionary tactics. We need strategies for the future, how to empower ourselves. In point of fact, although this is one of the most challenging periods ever for black people, if you exclude the slave years and the most violent parts of Jim Crow, but certainly since the 60s, this is one of the most challenging periods. However, this is also a period of tremendous opportunity and growth if we see it for what it is and capitalize. But the first thing we have to do is start believing in ourselves and turn away from looking for white supremacy to change its ways, which it never will.
It never has.
And it never has, never will. The change has to come from us. We are going to have to empower our children, empower our grandchildren, make them smarter, make them more focused on the future, so that they can handle what's coming up and be prepared for it. Because one thing is certain, one thing is damn certain. The future is upon us, and the redneck, no matter how many Trumps he elects, sooner or later is going to have to deal with the future that he is not prepared for. If we are prepared for it, we are in a much better position than most people think.
One thing Justice said, and I want people to understand this. Ever since I was growing up, or as a little boy growing up, the Russians were our enemy. The Russians were always going to be our enemy. We, McCarthyism, when they talked about communism, that doesn't work for America. So when guys like Jim Justice says, we are sick of hearing about Russia, Russia is our enemy. Russia is not a friend of ours. And these people in these states like West Virginia, Indiana, Ohio, it's going, yeah, we don't want to hear about Russia. That's just plain ignorant. Russia is our enemy. There's a problem. We've never been friends with Russia. The Cold War is not over.
Our problem with Russia was never the nuclear threat. The nuclear threat was there, and there was a lot of posturing by crazy old men. The problem has always been capitalism. And capitalism is a global phenomenon. It's not limited to any nation or country. So when you see Donald Trump surround himself by people from ExxonMobil,
right,
people, billionaires from the coal industry,
right,
you understand how important fuel is.
Right.
And when you understand that Russia is all oil all the time.
And in order to get it,
North Korea is all coal all the time. And you have to keep these countries in check where you can, or negotiate with them from a capitalist standpoint. And you have to manipulate the hearts and minds of Americans in order to pull this off, because it is a tricky wicket.
But if you just stop for a second, Nat, just stop for a second. When you talk about capitalism and communism, that doesn't work hand in hand. Because look at Russia.
Words. It does work hand in hand if you're
Putin, yes.
If you're China, it's just capitalism. I mean, communism is just something you tell poor people to keep them satisfied as being poor. But in point of fact, there's not one country on the planet that does not trade on the big board.
Right, I agree with you.
Not one.
But you look
once the Dow and the S&P shut down,
everything.
They got the FTSE.
Everybody's
it never
gone.
Stops.
Right.
It never stops. It moves from Asia into Europe. I mean, you just trade.
Right.
And then right before we open again at 9:30 in the morning. Right before that, we know the numbers from the commodities and whatnot. But all of that is contingent upon all of the stuff that's happening all around the world.
Yep.
And there's not a single country that does not
partake
in this global capitalist venture. They tell the people in China is communism, but it's only communist for the people. Russia was only communist for the people.
Right.
Putin is one of the richest men that ever lived in Britain.
Right. And see, that's why I also have a problem with, Donald Trump and the sanctions against Russia.
Right.
When we have sanctions against Russia, that freezes all of Putin's assets, all globally.
Donald Trump don't want y'all messing with his money.
That's messing with his money as well.
Neither does Jim Justice.
Right.
None of those guys want y'all monkeying around with your little kangaroo court crap, messing up the money thing.
But see, why can't not only Americans? Why can't I think most of the world sees that, except for us Americans.
Cletus ain't never gonna see that. And this is what I'm saying. The hell with Cletus's ass.
Oh my goodness.
Malik, let's do us. The hell with Cletus. Cletus ain't never. That's right. That's right. Malik, Leroy. Tyrone. That's right. Nilda, Pablo. Let's do us.
You are so right. We only got about 5 more minutes. Let me say this. Guys, I've run into you. I'm on vacation, as you know, for the month. I am so thankful that the people that I've run into in the last 2 weeks who has given us big props on our show. And I thank you from the social media mail that we bring and we add something to your life. The fact is, I'm going to explain to you guys why this show is live. But we don't take calls anymore because it kind of diverts from what we're talking about, and everybody can't get to see what they say. If, in fact, you guys want to express your opinion or to us, I'm going to talk to Nat. I'm going to tell him right on. We're going to have 30framesasecond.com. We're going to do it that way.
And at some time in the future, on some days, because I have gotten a lot of requests to return to taking phone calls. But one of the things we wanted to do with this show was upgrade it substantially.
Right.
especially when it comes to roll-ins and editing and making sure that we set a basis for conversation intellectually, and also because we are producers and videographers and researchers, and after all this time, we've become pretty damn good at it.
We've become great at it.
Yes, and I think, not focusing on that is a disservice. I also want you to know that if you go to YouTube and type in 30 frames a second, no spaces, no spaces, just 30 frames a second. If you see when you click it on, if they ask you, do you mean no? 30 frames a second, no spaces. You will get all of the shows that we have uploaded so far. Go to videos and you'll see them.
All of us,
from this show and back. And I've been looking at least the last 30 or 40 shows.
We've done a lot. We've done some great stuff. But not only that, if by chance you forget to 30 frames a second, type in Nat Wood and or Greg Lassiter. And then the videos, 30 frames a second will come up. And under it, you'll see our shows and just click on 30 frames.
Click on 30 frames.
And you'll see every show.
Videos.
The videos,
you can see them in order.
On YouTube.
And you can do it working backwards from most recent. But when you see them, I am very, very proud of the direction we've gone in. And we will have shows where we will take phone calls. We are aware of the fact that this is your show. I mean, that's why we work so hard, because it is your show, and we want to represent you in the best way possible. And we want to give you the best information at our disposal.
Wait.
We just got cussed out.
Wait.
we just got cussed out on his phone.
I gotta say this, Nat Wood. I have a question for Nat.
Yeah.
He calls us white people. He calls us white people crackers. So what kind of cracker am I? Saltine, Ritz, or wheat then?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I would have to meet you. But, for the record, we've been talking mostly about either broke crackers and let me say that about this, because I'm an equal opportunity insulter. Like white people. Because we have talked about the N-word a lot, and we have talked about rap music a lot. But let me say this about that. Since you asked me about the cracker thing, cracker, let me say this about that. Rap music is one of the biggest global sellers worldwide, and by and large, it is not black people that is buying it up. By and large, white people are buying up rap music by the bucket load and making it one of the biggest sellers on the planet. And white people seem to have no problem in black people calling themselves niggers and bitches. However, and talking about shooting each other, they love that. They dance to the beat. However, if you make one reference about gay, if you make one reference about Jew, if you make one reference about cracker, if you make one reference about anything other than degrading black people, you have hell to pay. So it is not incumbent upon me to stop saying cracker, and believe it or not, I don't work that in the conversation that often. But I want you to know that I really don't. And most of the people I know don't talk like that in real life.
None of our people.
This is a phenomenon that's done just for your entertainment. Just for you. Just for you. And when we do programs, when black people do programs on television, I don't care what it is, the little HBO show with the girls, with the black girls, they tend to speak in their most Negro
tone
of
right,
voice,
right.
an
Which I think is
accent
insulting.
to Negro,
Which is insulting.
and they never talk like this in person
right.
and in real life. They talk like normal, but they will get very, very Negroid for your benefit.
No, let's not say Negroid. Very urban.
It's not urban.
Well,
It's not urban.
Because we all don't talk like that,
most
though.
Of the people
We don't talk
who
like that.
do
You don't
this-
talk like that.
But most of the people who do this are not urban
Right.
blacks. They are portraying suburban blacks.
Right.
And they get very, very, girl, you see this
Right.
and all that stuff.
Right. That's
we
not the
don't
way they
talk
talk like that.
And
That's
you
exactly
know
it.
damn well we don't talk like that because you work with black people every day.
Right. Good question.
However, you have no problem with that. You enjoy that.
It's entertainment.
Cletus loves Ray Charles.
Right.
However, if we are gonna refrain from that, you first, because you are the problem. And you have been the problem, and it is not just a problem with African Americans, so-called African Americans. You have a problem with almost every other ethnic group on the planet.
It's true. Very well said.
So we all need to refrain, but you need to refrain from it on TV. So when you come up with, when the Game of Thrones boys come up on do their little Confederacy movie, and they omit black people, that's on you. Even if they get two black people to validate this crap. And when you get Eric Prince on TV, the founder of Blackwater, who devastated Katrina, who's done so much damage all over the world. When you get him and you add, and he talks about privatizing the military overseas, and they ask him to give an example of when this has ever worked, and he gives the East Indian, the East Indian Trading Company as an example, slavery itself as an example. You need to check him on this. So white folks, before you come to me talking about cracker, y'all better get your act together.
All right, guys, you know what? I want to say thank you guys for watching us. Really got a few seconds left. Guys, remember to shoot for the moon. If you miss, you're among the stars. We're out until next week. Peace.
You wait till the last minute to get on my last nerve. Peace, we out.
But guys, do know this, though. If you want to communicate with Nat and I, you can communicate with us through social media.
Right.
All you got to do is find Greg Lassner and Nat Wood on social media. We'll be able to answer and interact with you, because we just don't do this one day a week.
Right.
We do this 7 days a week.
Right.
In the social media aspect. If you guys are our friends on our Facebook, check us out on any social media, Twitter, you name it.
Peace, we
We're
out.
out of here.
And I didn't just call Cletus a cracker. I called him an inbred cracker. You had no problem with inbred. What's up with that? We out.